Hi everyone, I am one of the presenters of Group E and our topic is anthropological self. So what is anthropology? Anthropology is a study of human diversity from past to present, which means this is a study for us as a human being to the deepest root history of human through linguistic, cultural, physical, and materialistic forms. Anthropology is very dynamic and holistic than the other social science studies. Why is that the anthropology is holistic? Because a certain issue can be covered in a lot different angles. Let's say for example that the evolution of human is come from a monkey. Some said that the evolution of human is come from a fish and many more. So there are many variety of theories in one particular topic. Anthropology has four subfields in which we had cultural anthropology, a study it is a study based on our culture, and the baseline question would be what is family, what is religion, what is gender identity, and etc. The second is physical or biological anthropology. It is a study based on human artifacts such as prehistoric skull, deceased body, human anatomy, primates, and etc. The third is linguistic anthropology. It is a study based on language such as dialect, body language, hand gestures, and etc. And lastly is archaeology. It is a study based on materialistic artifacts such as prehistoric Egyptian tombstone, Leaning Tower Pisa, and Stone Age knife, and etc. Professor Joseph Ledoux is a neuroscientist who conceptualized aspect of self in which it has a connectivity with Sigmund Freud's level of consciousness. There are two types of conceptualized aspect of self, which is the implicit, that a certain person which is not conscious in a certain things. Let's say for example na naay babae sa imong atubangan niya, mairita, galit, or nasuko. This is the implicit self kay wala kabalo nganong nasuko ka or nairita sa iya. And the other hand, explicit self is a certain person is consciously aware of its feeling. In short, we know about things consciously. Let's say for example na you know for the fact na kabalo mo gitara, you know for the fact na malipayon ka, you know for the fact na basketballista ka, and so on and so forth.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Jason Pierpal, and my topic are Catherine Ewing and self-representation. Catherine Ewing is a professor of cultural anthropology. In 1990, she described the self as encompassing the physical organism, possessing psychological functioning and social attributes. If we talk encompassing, it includes everyone in society, since it is a shared system of meaning and a learned process. And then the psychological functioning is the ability to achieve his or her goals within him or herself and external environment. Then the social attributes are formed by our interaction with other people over our lifetime. So according to anthropology, the self is the totality of the individual consisting of all characteristic attributes, conscious and unconscious, mental and physical. So, as my research, this is the first definition of self. Ewing considers is the one of the characterizes as the most general and ordinary, everyday sense of the word. So, let's proceed to the self-representation. Ewing in 1989, she asserted that a self is illusory. Illusory means illusions or fake or false. Ewing is the illusion of wholeness, meaning it's all about cultural, self, and experience of inconsistency. People from a cultural have been observed to be able to rapidly project different self-representations depending on the context of the situation. And then the people construct a series of self-representations that are based on selected cultural concept of person and selected chains of personal memories. I think there is a philosophy who is asserted also the self-illusory. I think his name is David Hume. He also asserted the self-illusory, but it's all about belief. I think belief, or I guess it's belief. And then while the Catherine Ewing, he asserted the self-illusory, but it's all about the cultural self and experience of consistency. And that's all. Thank you.
So the next one is the self embedded in culture. This is how individuals see themselves. How they relate to other people and how they relate to the environment is deeply defined by culture. If one finds the view that the self is a product of society, then it is plausible that the ways of how the self is developed are bound to cultural differences as well. So, culture plays a crucial role in our social lives and not only shapes our social relationship, but it decides how we make sense of the world, our place in it, and our everyday actions. So, ang culture kay isa ka factor nga naga-influence on how people think and behave. And when I was a kid, I remember start practicing one. For example, pag naay nahulog na utensils like kutsara or tinidor habang nagkakaon, ang first conclusion permi kay naay maabot na bisita or tao. Sa kutsara kay babae, sa lalaki kay tinidor. So, next, natay ginatawag na construal. Construal is an interpretation of the meaning of something. Hence, in this sense, the meaning of self. Diri ginapaunsa sa tao pag-perceive, comprehend, o interpret sa mga panghitabo sa iyang palibot to determine their own actions and judgments. Example sa mga na country or ginatawag na collectivists kay Japan and Israeli kibbutz. People in Japan emphasize their connectedness and must do their duty. Some enjoy higher status, while people in Israeli kibbutz emphasize their connectedness and work toward common goals. Most people have the same status. And the next one is the individualistic culture. The individualistic culture represents the self as a separate, distinct, with emphasis on internal attributes, traits, skills, and values. Mao ni sila ang mga tao na kabalo mo solve sa ilang problem or mo accomplish sa ilang goal nga wala naga-rely o nagapangayog tabang sa lain. Countries like United States and Denmark tend to be individualistic. People in United States are unique. Some distinguish themselves and enjoy higher status, while people in Denmark are unique. Most people have the same status.
Catherine Rafe, a developmental psychologist. She explores the dynamics of human development, which gives us these four concepts of culture can influence how you view. So the first one is relationship. Culture influences how you enter into and maintain relationships. So every culture affects our personal habits and preferences, interracial relationship or having relationship with other races. Personal habits might cause issue the same way they would when they are acceptable in our country but not tolerated for long another. Example, the relationship between the Canadian and the Egyptian. So, based din siya sa akong natanaw sa YouTube couple therapy. The husband, who is an Egyptian, was a bit confused about his wife's behavior towards her mother or how she treats her mother. It is because Egypt kay they treat their parent respectfully unlike sa nakasanayan sa iyang wife. She said she's treating others how she's been treated by them, even if it's her own parent. She also said that she's not rude. It is just because of what her mother taught her and the environment she grew up in. So, before entering relationship with other races, make sure to background check their culture first. Number 2. Personal traits. Culture influences whether and how you value traits like humility, self-esteem, politeness, assertiveness, etc., as well as how you perceive hardship or how you feel about relying on others. Personality is more than just genes. A large part of who we are and the decision we make are influences by the culture we grew up in. So example, diri sa Pilipinas. Sa atong pagkabata, gitudloan ta sa atong mga ginikanan na mahimong matinhuron o polite. Pero sa ubang nasod, mas prefer nila ang saba, energetic o aggressive. Aggressive. And another example sad kay ang collectivist and individualist culture, which were discussed earlier. So, sa individualism man ay nakafocus sila sa self-improvement because they believe that when everyone take care about themselves, then the entire group will grow and become self-sufficient para dili na magpalabit sa uban. Ang pagtinabangay sa usag-usa kay option ra sa ilaha. Sa collectivist naman, kay vice versa ra siya sa individualist culture, which means ilang mga ginabuhat kay maka-benefit tanan. So they are extremely close to each other unlike sa individualist culture. Number 3. Achievement. Culture influences how you define success, whether you value certain types of individual and group achievements. Don't boast. It's not the right thing to do. Ika nga nila. In many Africans, Asians, Latins, and diaspora cultures, sabi nila, ang pagpapakumbaba ay isang malaking kabutihan sa lipunan. As part of the Asian culture, naandun na ta magpaubsanon sa atong kaugalingon ng achievements. Pero naaman sa mga few Filipinos nga nakagawian ng mag-brag about sa ilang achievement. And sa akong opinion lang, whenever I am with these types of people, I feel a bit awkward. It doesn't mean nga we Filipinos hate boastful people. We are just part of the culture in which na mas prefer ta magpahiubos and mag-elevate sa uban para lang maka-navigate sa situation. So, finally, the last one, which is the expressing emotion. Culture influences what will affect you emotionally as well as how you express yourself, such as showing your feelings in public or keeping it in private. Some researchers view emotion as universal construct and that a large part of emotional experience is biologically determined but is also influenced by the environment. Therefore, cultural differences exist in some aspect of emotions. One such important aspect of emotion being emotional arousal level. In Western or individualist culture, Western, high arousal emotions are valued and more promoted than low arousal emotion. So, ang pasabot di ay sa high arousal kay nag-describe kini sa level of excitement o sa uban nga emotions which are the anger and joy. So, sa low arousal naman kay nag-define kini sa dominance which are the sadness and fear. Low dominance. So sa western culture, mas more on high arousal level sila, and then sa eastern, which are the collectivist culture, mas prefer sila o mas usual nila na ma-experience ang low arousal level. And another one is the facial expression. So daghan sad ni siya similarities and differences in some culture. Sa similarities, the researchers found out that 60% of the culture uses same facial expressions, which ang mga usual na to nga mga expressions ba. Sa differences naman, some countries like India, they tend to bite their tongue when they feel embarrassed. So, dili lang di ay ni siya about sa pag-express sa emotion. It is also about how other cultures interpret someone's emotion. Like, for example, sa United States, they tend to focus on the mouth when interpreting others' emotions. While in Japan, they tend to focus in the eyes. So, maora to, and salamat kaayo sa pagpaminaw.